All right. Let me see. 3, 2, 1. It's on.
Awesome. We're live.
And people are going to instantly hear the audio is different.
Because we did that little adjustment.
You know, anybody out there using OBS, okay, because some people use OBS, 100% on your volume thing doesn't mean 100%.
Yeah, we found that out, right?
I had no idea. Because you have little sliders, okay? Everybody knows there's little sliders and all this kind of stuff on your deal. So you slide it all the way and you think that's the max volume. Apparently not. You can go into it and you actually open the meter and you can type in more. So you can make 100% up to 999.
Okay.
999, right?
I guess so. I'll refer to you on that.
Oh,
Tech Talk, I refer to you.
Mother shit. I was so frustrated because I was blowing my brains out spending all this time trying to fix the audio because our audio was quiet. Like last week with you guys, with you and Ronnie. The guest audio was awesome. Right. Exactly the way we want it. And you guys' audio was like,
oh, how you doing? I know.
I know. Frustrating as hell. And I'm like, man.
That's how you learn. I've always, the best way I learn is by just fucking up. Or messing up, or finding a mistake, and then because if you learn that way, usually that's the best way to learn.
Yeah.
If someone tells you, "Hey, you didn't do that right," man, it never. I got a thick head. It never works that way. But if I get smacked in the face, I remember that.
It's frustrating as shit. I'm like, you mother, God blessed. Yes,
we survived it.
I know. Okay, so I'm gonna bore the shit out of you with some business talk early.
Let's do it.
Okay.
Hey, I like business.
Silly little things. Okay,
so I like business.
Right, you know, and it's I listened to a bunch of business podcasts too, and this whole deal, and I was like, you know what, this is crazy. So, you know, I'm looking at opening a restaurant here real soon, and there will be a partner or partners involved, which is always interesting. So generally speaking, when anybody comes to me and they say, hey, blah, 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 me and so-and-so are going to get into business, I'm like, well, drop so-and-so and then just suffer your ass off for a while and make it work on your own. Right. Because partners are a mother. You know what I'm saying?
It's unpredictable.
Highly unpredictable. But, you know, sometimes you get a wild hair in your ass and you just feel like doing things.
Right.
Okay. So what I'm going to hit is everybody always wonders, what is the value of work equity? You know, the working value. You're going to put work into the company or intellectual property, IP, as compared to dollars invested, right? The shortest answer is it depends, right, on how much the value of what you are working is. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So for a consultant, if you're going to do a consultant, and we'll use restaurant stuff, right? So if we're opening a restaurant, you're the consultant. The value of your actual work is around $100,000 a year. Okay, so if you draw $20,000 a year, because that's all you need, you're putting in $80,000 for that first year of work, right? Plus, if you already have the expertise, you're bringing in some intellectual property as well, putting that in there. Does that make sense? So let's say there's no build out, it's kitchen shit, whatever. The dollars in are $200,000, and you're putting $100 in work equity. There you go.
Right.
Now you kind of know what the investment ratios are. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So easy, right?
Perfect
You could
sense.
call it, 2-to-1 or whatever, 66% to 33%, or bring somebody else in. However you want to structure that. The important thing is this: any percentage that you own, you either want to take all of that or a good chunk of it and make it undilutable.
What does that mean?
Okay, meaning if you have to raise $10 to do your business, right? We're going to keep the numbers super simple. So you got to raise $10, and you and your partner raise those $10 in some shape, form, or fashion. Work equity and money and all these things, right? And each of you own half, okay? Now you run through that $10, you have a successful business, but you need another $10 to really make things work, okay? So if you dilute it, that means a third person comes in, gives another $10, right? Now you all have a third.
So you're talking about bringing in additional investors.
An additional investor of any kind, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So now you need someone else to come in. They're investing on top of it, or your money guy, whoever that is, invests more in. Now your percentage of ownership is now diluted.
Right.
Okay. You had, just call it 50-50 before. Now they put more money in, so now you own less of the same business,
right?
Effectively, because they dump more money in. If you own 50% and you say 25% is undilutable, that means that ratio gets worked into the end game. So 25% of your stuff is always 25%. The other 25% can get diluted. That's just the way you can do that however you want. But in the sense of you don't want to give away the house, so to speak.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Makes perfect sense.
And with partners, if someone owns 10% or more, right, they have the ability to acquire shares. They have the ability in the state of Texas. I don't know other states. I'm not 100% sure. But in the state of Texas, they get to look at your books and dive in and do all these other things and give input, and they have voting power, and you get all of this other kind of stuff. Even if you structure it differently, they can still come in and alter your business because they own 10%. If they own 9.9%, they can't.
Okay.
Another reason to keep portions of your stuff not diluted and things of that nature. That makes
perfect sense.
Yeah, so just had to plug a little bit of that.
It's pretty interesting.
Well, it's just some business shit, you know, and I'm just kind of like, a lot of people are like, okay, what, you know, this is going to sound, this actually is a little bit more business. They're like, okay, what's your value? That's hard. That's hard. My value for what?
Yeah.
You know, I'll keep specific names out. I structured and then also restructured a food service business that was, that had a $7 to $8 million a year profit. Okay, which local. It's just local.
It's pretty good.
It's pretty good. So in the structuring, in the initial deal, we built them up in a matter of a year and a half up to about $7 million a year, a little bit over. Then over the next several years, they wound up bringing in some more investors, and exactly what I told you, things got diluted, people got to give input, and then their business dropped to about $4 million a year. Okay, then I come back in, fix everything back up, and it goes just shy of $8 million again, right, within about another year, give or take a little bit. Well, how do you value that?
How do you value your work, your input? I don't know.
That's tough.
That's a really difficult question.
It's tough.
Would you say a percentage of what the increase was, or would you say a percentage of what the initial norm was?
Yeah,
8 million, 7, 8. So I don't know. I'm not a business guy, so I don't know. It's a good question. So, I wouldn't know how to value that.
So this is me. Okay, everybody does it differently, and this is not the best way to do it. It's just the easiest way to do it. Okay, and easiest doesn't always mean best. I went and I said, okay, pay me 60% of what I would get paid on the averages across the country for this type of work, right? And give me 15% of the business. Okay, I get no voting power. I gave up all voting power. I gave up all that kind of stuff because you're going to pay me for consulting stuff when you need it. Otherwise, I get nothing. Well, they said 12%, so I took 12%. It was great, and then went home and I said, you know what? I don't want to have to keep track of this crap. I don't want to have to, like, am I getting really 12%? Are they cooking the books? Are they and I was just getting stressed out because food service industry and restaurants and bars and all that, it's dirty business. As a whole, there's great people in it.
No, you're right.
I was with a good person and I could have trusted them and it was great. But then I went in and I said, hey, you know what? This is going to hurt me in the long term, but let's work on a flat rate.
Right.
And then so I took generally what that 12% would be close to equating over a certain period of time. And I said, you know what, just pay me quarterly this, and we're going to stop it at 5 years. If it turns into a $100 million a year business at year 6, I don't get any of that.
Right.
So I just termed it, if that makes sense. Because I didn't want to chase them down. And I don't want to have to, it's not my style.
Turn into a big headache.
Exactly. Yeah.
Maybe even legal headache.
Yeah. Usually they do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I can see where it would get legal real quick.
Real quick.
Yeah.
So that was kind of my deal. I was just like, you know what? How do I do this? How do you value yourself? And then you come in, you're like, okay, well, so for myself is, you know, I'm highly educated. So I've got a lot of traditional education. I have a lot of worldly education from all those other kinds I've been in. And I've been in consulting from everything from heavy equipment companies to gym stuff to small little fitness people to the largest restaurant business that I did consulting for was right before they sold out to the Fertittas, roughly 10 years ago. So that was about a $25 million a year company right before they had sold. And I think they sold for 30 or 40 million. So I'd done stuff for them, turned some things around, flipped concepts, made them successful. So they made a bunch more money, everything. I mean, so I'm like sitting here, I'm like, I don't know. How the fuck do you value yourself?
You know, that's a great question. And that's a great question for a lot of ways, because I'm starting to get into a part of my life where I'm teaching jiu-jitsu, and I have kind of a unique background with my jiu-jitsu. It's different than what most black belts have, because mine's definitely law enforcement, defensive tactics related, and a lot of my skill set. And so as I teach, there's a rates that are normally the industry standard, the industry norm. And I'm at the lower end of that because I'm the white belt of black belts right now, as Ronnie and I like to say. But it's interesting.
True but silly, yeah.
It's interesting. How do you value what your worth is? And do you believe in the I guess it's the old saying, never do for free what you can get paid to do? I don't know if that's maybe a really great thing to say, because I've done what I do. I've volunteered my knowledge a lot freely to people. In certain situations I charge for it, but I've taught freely for a long time also.
There is some truth to that. Okay, so I'll interrupt you to
I'm seriously asking you, how do you feel about that?
There is always, no matter what your industry is, if it's physical things or mental things, which teaching, a lot of it, I know it's a physical thing, but it's still mental, right? You're giving intellectual property in essence, right? Learned stuff as opposed knowledge. To as opposed to shirts and hats or something. Right. Doesn't matter. Both. There's always a percentage that you give to get people's attention to draw your business so you can sell more, right? Be it your time or be it the merchandise or whatever. So yes, don't give away what you could sell or earn or make money on is true, but you've always got to give a little to get a ton. So
would you say that's investing in future revenues?
Yes.
With the simple way of saying it.
I mean, really what you give for free, you have to look at sort of a marketing expense.
Yeah.
And it is, I know I don't like saying it this way, but it's true, it's the hook, line, and sinker. Not a bait and switch. That's dirty and there's some negative connotations with that.
Yeah. That's
but you're saying, hey, here I am, come here, here's what I've got, and you always leave sort of a cliffhanger. Don't give them, give them 8 of the 10 steps. Yeah. And now they want another 2 steps. Yeah. And they feel good with it. And now they've interacted with you and they're confident.
And if you have if your product or whatever you're selling is worth it, people will buy it. Like if it's worth it's worth what they're looking for.
Not always true.
What, you think not?
No. Not always true.
Okay.
I won't get into the details of it, but we'll go take cell phones.
Okay.
What's a better phone? Seriously, from mechanics and all that. The iPhone?
I don't know.
The newest, biggest, baddest iPhone or the newest, biggest, baddest Samsung phone?
I honestly, I don't know.
Functionally, with all the tests, Samsung destroys them.
Well, people love their iPhones.
Exactly.
I got 2 of them here.
What do people? You see what I'm saying? And that's kind of
that's comfort, because they get you from the beginning. So iPhone got people from the very early beginning. Yeah. iPhone was the leader in smartphones at the beginning. They were ahead of everybody. Yeah. So they sucked everybody in. And what do you get? What do you get with the iPhone? Comfort. I know how this works. I know the operating system. I know exactly how to get where I need to get. It's always the same, but better every time I upgrade. If I go to a Samsung, I don't know how this thing works. Now I got to learn a whole new operating system. Maybe it's better, but is it so much better that it's worth the headache of switching over?
Right.
And my friends have iPhones, and I can FaceTime them, but if I got this, I can't FaceTime. Whatever.
So you just taught yourself what's the most important thing in
convenience?
In sales. Comfort.
Comfort. That makes sense.
I feel comfortable with this person. I feel comfortable with this brand. I feel comfortable with this product. I feel comfortable with how I use this widget, this thing, be it the phone or a tablet or computer or car. It doesn't matter. Because that's why so many people, if you look at it, very few people switch brands of things over time. And when they do, it's something that's extremely similar.
Yeah.
So they may go from Chevy to GMC. Okay,
same
get
car.
Out of here. It's the same thing.
Almost with vehicles, there's differences for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty good example, because I know a lot of people that they'll never move away from General Motors. They'll stick on that no matter. It's going to be a General Motors product one way or another. And that's because of the comfort of the vehicle. They're used to it.
And that's not wrong. It's not bad. But it's just people like those types of patterns. And unless it's something that's really going to knock them off their feet, they don't really entertain it.
Yeah.
And there's other variables. People, I don't want my email to blow up. Sometimes it's based on money, not what you want. And there's some other factors that can change things on big purchases. But generally speaking, supplements and drinks and all this stuff, people go with what's comfortable.
Yeah, that's true. That's actually really true. Like I have to force myself to be experimental.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to try something different.
So
you feel like it's the risk.
Yeah.
I'm being risky here. I'm buying a different brand on my pre-workout.
It's got 280 milligrams instead of 270 milligrams.
Yeah.
I don't know
what should I do?
You know, like people
so
freak out on that stupid
though.
shit. Yeah.
It's funny. It's actually really funny when you think about it. And most products are pretty similar to each other, generally speaking. You know what I mean? They're like they're within the same little parameters.
Yeah,
some few differences here and there.
Because nobody really wants to get too far away in the same class of supplement, because then they're going to be the outlier.
What was that pre-workout that came out a few years ago? Because I used to use the crap out of it, and then it got banned. Man,
with the DMA, the Jack 3D.
Jack 3D, remember that?
Jacked or
everybody was using Jacked, and then all of a sudden, man, that was good stuff. I miss it. I loved it. It was like
really at the end of the day, there's nothing really wrong with it. But if you've got cholesterol problems and all that other kind of shit, stuff's gonna happen, man.
Well, so don't they put that on the warning label?
Yeah, it's not enough.
That's crazy. Yeah. I loved it. Oh man, I wouldn't.
Well, the flip side, okay, so what hurt them, which damaged it in the industry? They were putting greater amounts than what they were posting and doing some other shit on the back end that just made the whole situation worse.
Do you think that happens a lot where they put in and I've always heard this happens, and I don't know how, you would definitely know, I don't know how accurate it is, that you'll see here companies will put substances they shouldn't put in their products in order to get that initial people first start taking a product so they get a bigger boost than what they probably should be getting?
Not really.
You don't think that's happening?
Now,
you hear it.
Things accidentally get in there. Okay. So when we see that's where people will take a legit supplement and they cut other stuff in those factories and stuff. So there's some cross contamination. Cross contamination is really not what we're talking about, but it can happen.
Yeah, I'm talking about like intentional.
So intentional, no, it goes the other way. Sort of. Is what they'll do is they'll come out with a product. The first 1 or 2 runs of that product, maybe 3 runs of that product, meaning 6 months to a year of that product, will be exactly what's on there, as close as possible to the label, the highest quality ingredients. They've dropped their load. They have dumped their load into this product. And it's great because it is everything it says it is. Then, let's just say they go 2 runs. Their third run, they start switching out ingredients. Cheaper ingredients, less effective ingredients that are less assimilated or less used by the human body, combined with things, and then they do that first. Second, the next run after that, they'll say, okay, well, FDA says that if they have a 10% margin of error, so they run the bottom end of that 10% on everything. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So if it's 50 grams of this, they are putting 45. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes perfect sense.
And then they hope, if they ever get tested, because it's a process to get them tested, that they test at 45 because they're okay. So now they're dropping everything down, which is where you get a lot of that protein spiking, where people were putting amino acids to make it test like there was more protein in it. And you get all that kind of bullshit going on with it. So they give you a really good quality product in the first runs,
right? And
then they draw back from it.
Yeah.
So let's get you captured and then draw it back.
That's sneaky. That's a bait and switch.
That is a bait and switch. Like that should be.
That's sneaky.
It's not criminal.
They stay right within that margin, huh?
Yeah.
Just to
play
I guess it's capitalism.
This is me, okay? With our science and with our manufacturing, with all that bullshit that we have right now, there's no reason to be more than like a 1% off.
Yeah.
And some of these things are allowing a 10% margin of error, plus or minus 10%.
That's a big number, because 10% is a big
number.
That's
huge.
Yeah.
Over time, that's
for
huge.
Sure. So, yeah, for sure.
If you're doing 10 million units of this product and you go 10% short across the board.
Well, how many more? That saved you a lot of money. You're really allowed to. Yeah. That's a lot.
And if you know you're doing it.
Yeah, of course they know they're doing it. It makes perfect sense.
Doing it?
It makes look.
As precise as our manufacturing
I hate to say it. I can't say that I wouldn't be like totally. I wouldn't be totally against that. I was like, well, it's within the legal margin of error, so we're just shaving costs.
And the problem isn't the manufacturers. The problem is that the FDA allows it.
Yeah,
that's
what I'm saying. They're within the legal.
Yeah.
They're within what the FDA gives them, so they're only doing what I think a business would naturally do, which is shave costs here and there to continue to build profit. Yeah. I mean, they should be doing that. To be honest with you,
it's smart business.
Yeah,
it's not the most
their
moral
shareholders and the people that work there should be angry if they don't, because they're trying to make their money. If the FDA tightens it up, then they should tighten it up. As long as they stay within that, I can't be mad at them for it.
I know, and it's
still a big number.
Oh, and that's kind of my deal. Is I'm just. no hate on Optimum or Glambia or any of that kind of stuff. Everybody knows that I'm not with them anymore.
Right.
It's been a few months. But one of my biggest complaints of them over the last couple of years is they started going into Walmarts, going into Targets, going into Costco's, going into these things, C-stores and all this other kind of convenience stores and doing all these other things. I'm like, it's just a bad sign. It's just a bad sign. And then I'm watching different ingredients and I'm watching different things flip and change. And I'm like, I just didn't like it.
Is it in a really simplistic way of saying it? You feel like that's selling out?
It's
for money.
For many years. So pre-Glambia coming in and purchasing Optimum, which is BSN and ABB and Isopure and Amazing Grass and a bunch of other companies as well. It's all one deal. Before they came in, it was 100% of what can we do to put exactly what the customers want out there and then make it taste good. Taste is a motherfucker in this industry. Yeah. Trying to make amino acids taste good and BCAAs taste good.
Hard.
And that's, if anybody knows anything about flavoring, that's the hardest part of the entire industry. You're going to spend more money on testing and retesting this shit than all the basic ingredients.
Do they need testers? I mean,
They have them, dude.
Volunteer for it.
It's crazy how they do. This is so quick little snapshot.
Do you like test it and then work out?
These people, like, oh.
You're at the gym. All right, let's do it.
But there's people that literally it's just tasting, and then there's machines that can give you a relatively decent taste response as well.
Really?
So you don't actually have the physical person, but you do.
How does a machine measure I guess it just knows the formula which will create
something
most people like to taste.
Yeah, if I give 1,000 people something and these 1,000 people say it has a 7 to 8 taste and these ranges and all this stuff, you input that in and it reverse engineers it. So
that's interesting. That's so crazy that a machine would tell you, oh yeah, that tastes good.
Yeah, this should taste good
and be
to
correct.
This range of population and
robots are taking over.
Basically,
yeah. That's pretty interesting though, because it's funny because when I find a pre-workout that's works and it tastes good, that's like gold. You're like, I'll never work out, I'll never use another pre-workout ever again. BCAAs that actually because BCAAs have such a flat taste, but if you get the right one, it works. I don't know, it's
hard. It's so hard. And
supplement industry,
I was on them so long. I mean 8 to 10 years I was on them to make a flavorless amino acid supplement, like kind of like the Amino Energy. So it has amino acids and a little bit of caffeine, but make it flavorless. And then also a non-stem pre-workout that was flavorless. Right. Because a lot of people work out late at night and they still want to go to sleep, these things. Man, I challenge anybody, go get some citrulline or some arginine. Go get several of these supplements in base form, because you can order them in base form go to Amazon. You can get you can find them in base.
Get anything on Amazon.
Just put that in your tongue. Just take a little bit and go good on your tongue. Half of it you want to vomit. It's nasty.
It's so bad.
It is really nasty. So you've got to do something you've got to flavor it somehow.
It makes kind of make sense.
Yeah.
I just do it dry now.
But it's still flavored.
Yeah, no. Yeah. But you got to have water.
Yeah.
That's like
it's just
one you gave me, the scoop was like this big.
Yeah.
And I was like, I can't do this with it's too much. Like it's like
just one in your mouth.
Even half and half. It was just it was overwhelming. I was like, okay, I gotta have a shaker cup for
and
this.
And it's a big scoop, but that one is actually properly dosed.
Yeah. No, it was great. It worked great. It worked really good.
But
I couldn't do the just.
I know.
It was a little too much. But that's interesting. But the supplement industry, that's interesting. I didn't know that.
It's a dirty industry.
I believe it. But like a lot of industries are dirty though. Don't you think?
Yes. The short answer is yes.
Yeah.
And maybe because I was in the supplement industry for so many years, I'm like,
but I mean, like,
so dirty.
I feel like across the board with just business and industries in general, there's a lot of dirty business going on.
And this is a little bit of political talk.
Yeah.
This is my biggest conundrum of, am I conservative or libertarian?
Right.
Okay. Because totally free business and commerce is dirty as shit.
Yes.
It's
unregulated.
Dirty. Unregulated. It is dirty. So you've got to regulate them or set rules to keep them in the scope, to keep them honest. So if you do that, then that's against the libertarian way. But if you but too much regulation is also a hindrance, because then if you start to over squeeze or over put your thumb down on a business, they're going to find, now you've got more loopholes and you start to create ways around it. So I'm like, what is that balance?
Well, that's the trick.
Yeah.
That's always been the trick. And that's kind of how I think our form of capitalism has been so successful, because we've kind of balanced it pretty good as a country overall.
Yeah.
Not perfect. There was times when there was no regulation, which is typical what happens when you see new industries popping up, new technology popping up.
Yeah.
It takes a minute for regulation and for legislation to catch up to what's happening. But I think overall our country's actually done a pretty good job of balancing it, but we do stray one way or the other a little bit. But I think it's kind of like a little bit of a small pendulum.
Yes.
We go here, we catch it, like, okay, that's too strong. Okay, that's not enough. That's not enough regulation. We need to add more. So I think, and you're seeing us kind of in that little spot right now where it was over-regulation for 8 years, which is typical under a Democrat president. And now we're swinging it back, but now there's concerns that are we going too far with the lack of regulation in certain industries?
And that's hard. And because we need a reduction in regulations. It's ridiculous when you see the stacks and all this kind of stuff.
It got bad.
It's bad, and that's not a Democrat or Republican or any kind of thing. That's just the nature of government and how it works, right? We've learned so much because of the openness of the internet, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Netflix series, Hulu series, all these people kind of diving in and doing things. So we're learning
Amazon
more.
Prime.
Yeah, Amazon Prime, all of them.
Just got back on Prime. It's so awesome.
It's awesome. So we're learning so much on drugs and pharmacy and farming and meat and poultry and how we're raising it and what we're doing it to raise it and the overproduction and what the toxicity of that and plastics and all of this range of things. We're like, wait a second, we're fucking ourselves up the way we're doing this. We're doing some really bad shit. And then we just stopped some regulations on them. It's going to get worse.
Yeah.
And you're like, crap. But it's all kind of all happening at the same time. So it's not like it really, because it was going on during President Obama as well. So it's not like it's President Obama or President Trump's doing this. They're changing regulation. And as the regulation's changing, something pops up that they learn. Government's too slow. It's not going to be able to put the brakes on this to go back and fix. You can't. So you can't blame any of them. It's not their fault. But dude, it's fucking every industry is dirty. Yes.
Yeah, that's what I'm. As you get older, I think that's what you. Yeah. But there's acceptable levels. Kind of talk about. There's acceptable, and it's just there's no perfect system. It's better than the alternative. If you have a little bit of dirty, a little bit of your industries are a little bit dirty, which I think anytime it comes to making money, competitiveness, and you have competitors in the same market, there's going to be dirty play where they can get away with it, and even where they think they can get away with it. It's a hell of a lot better than Venezuela or some other completely government run country that doesn't allow free markets to take hold. So even China,
when you take the size of our country, okay, so don't give me some bullshit that Sweden's way better, and fuck, dude, they're so small. I mean, that's like Rhode Island. If Rhode Island became a country, right, and stuck it in something about half the size of Texas, right?
Yeah.
So the population of Rhode Island and that, you spread it all out, and that totally independent, totally sovereign, and they have to spend no money on defense. And you do, of course, it's a whole different situation. So take the size of our country, the diversity of our country, what our country is globally, and all this other kind of shit. Our problems are nothing compared to most of the world.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah.
I agree with that 100%.
We need to clean up some pig farming. Cool. There's ways to do this.
For sure. Like, we live in a pretty great country. Our problems, honestly, in the scale of the world, are pretty minor.
They're extremely minor.
Pretty minor. Yeah. Even though the people here in our country seem to think they're of massive global inhumanity. They're nothing. People are walking down the streets and buying food, and our poor people are obese and have 2 TVs. And I mean, everybody's said that before, but it's true.
We got homeless, but they did a fucking special on this intersection right back over here. So less than a mile and a half away. Homeless dude's making $300 a day.
Oh, I believe it.
A day.
Well, the traffic, there's unbelievable. I mean, you're talking about millions and millions of cars throughout the year. traveling these things.
Right. And it's
you just take 1% of those people giving $1 here and there. Yeah, $300-$400 a day, easy.
And I watch these guys get 5s and 10s and 20s and shit, dude.
Yeah. So I mean,
I'm like,
yeah, our poor people, and and we could go into a whole nother topic about the people living under the bridge.
Yeah.
And I can tell you from personal experience, as a police officer, most of those people, they're there because they have mental health issues. It's not a oh, they can't get a job.
Yeah.
It's they have mental health issues, and our country did away with sanitariums years ago under Reagan, and we've never fixed that problem.
Yeah.
There should be talk of bringing sanitariums back because people with mental health issues need a place to go.
Yes.
And living under a bridge ain't the best option.
Yeah. And I'll say this because when Reagan did all that, the way they were, it needed to be eliminated. Like there was no fix.
There was problems, right?
Yeah.
Well, I think maybe it might have been a little overblown, possibly.
Well, of course,
but yeah, there was for sure there's problems.
Yeah.
They just needed to be fixed. They didn't need to be done away with. But I guess the public demand at the time was, I think some movies came out too detailing.
It did.
Over horrifying what was occurring, and there was some really bad conditions for sure. But we need to bring them back under something. It would really help out a lot of the homeless issues, I think.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But
Yeah. I'm gonna do a quick switch on something here real quick.
Let's do it.
While you're doing that, this should be fine. I think I've
giving something to experiment. Are you double checking something?
Well, I think I switched something.
Have we just been talking to ourselves for 30 minutes?
Well, worst case scenario is if this was correct, then people may miss the first little bit unless they watch it later.
Okay.
But which is totally
no
cool.
worries.
Yeah. I just want to make sure that's well, it said that already.
Yeah.
So, so it's good.
All right.
That was just a double check.
No,
so there could have
cool.
been a delay or a little issue, but you got some,
we're still here.
Thankfully, Steph did it.
Yeah.
So worst case scenario, somebody might miss the first little bit and have to go back and watch it.
We're just talking about homeless people.
Watch it. Yeah.
We're just talking about homeless people and supplements.
But it's like same thing. So let's. I don't want to get into the long conversation, but take public schools right across America.
Yep.
There is no way to fix them. Realistically, there's no way to take the current system and fix it. It really kind of needs to be abolished and restarted.
I agree.
Like take a summer and say there's no summer school this summer. There's none of this kind of bullshit. You all get everything needs to go up private. Teachers go make as much money as you want this summer, charging kids or give it for free. I don't give a shit. All our schools are closed for an entire summer, and when we open next year, everything's different.
Man, our school system. The more I look back and I realize how absolutely unprepared it makes children for a real world, for adult life.
Yeah.
I don't know I don't understand the basis of our education system right now. Like it's
horrid.
It doesn't do anything to prepare people to prepare young people to jump into the marketplace, the workplace, society. It's kind of like a preparatory for college, and if you can't do that, you're just fucked.
Yeah, but it's not even that.
Yeah.
Because your first year of college is like grade 13.
It is, because you're taking all these basic courses, because you have your core courses, right? Right. Yeah, it's nuts. Our school system, no wonder we're so far behind everybody else.
Ridiculous.
And if you have a conversation with, let's just be real, unless you're engaged and you're interested in reading books and teaching yourself things, if all you've got is high school and even college, you're kind of a social idiot.
Yeah.
Honestly, or let's say an intellectual idiot, because you won't have a real understanding of history. You won't have a real understanding of what's happening in current events in the world. Because I have conversations with people I know all the time, completely oblivious.
Yeah.
To history and things that have happened.
They still teach Christopher Columbus discovered America.
Yeah.
I'm like, we have evidence that maybe 1,000 years before that, not counting the indigenous people that were already here.
Right.
So how do you found something that's already found, right? But anyway, that around 1,000 years before that, possibly even the Polynesians came across the damn Pacific Ocean, were interacting and trading shit on the California coast.
Very possible.
Which it wasn't California then, but I'm like, What did Christopher Columbus do?
Yeah, he was just another guy that landed over here. Now, obviously, that was a big landmark because it brought Europeans.
Yes.
Which completely altered history.
Yeah.
For the Western Hemisphere.
Yes.
And now we're here, right? But, like the fact that we don't know shit about what's really happened, even as much as 1,000 years ago, 2,000 years ago, I guess, 1,000 years ago.
Yeah.
2,000 years ago, they still aren't sure when the first people, they're still finding remains of people 20, 30,000 years ago in the North American continent, well before there's people supposed to be here. And so, we don't know shit.
So we're sitting there
but we're teaching kids that we know shit.
Yeah, we're saying this is definitively the fact of the truth.
Yeah, I remember that. It was the land bridge. Now it turns out that was just one way people were coming over, which makes,
Yeah.
But you're right. Our education system, for sure, is fucked.
So again, libertarian plug. Okay. Mm-hmm. One of the things as a good multitude of platforms in the Libertarian Party are saying is basically condense what high school is, because most kids don't do shit their senior year anyway.
No, I didn't.
So you go until you're basically 16, the end of your sophomore year. And at that point, you've graduated what is traditionally today known as high school. Mm-hmm. Okay, so you condense it down and actually teach and educate and do all this other kind of bullshit. When you're 17 and 18, in the same high school arena, you go and you experiment in trade type schools. Yeah. Be it entrepreneurship, be it business, be it mechanical shop, be it whatever. Does that make sense? All your different trades. It could be cooking. It can be culinary, call it whatever. But anyway, you can go and you can train and you can do all these things. You also do all your ROTC. You can do those. You can explore for 2 years. And all of that exploration is what? All of your electives for college. So then when you go to college, a 4-year degree now is going to be 2 years or 2.5 years, because you've already completed curriculum that would satisfy all of the electives. So you jump in immediately and you're going into your core credits. Yeah. So your undergrad degree is now what traditionally is known as a tech school degree today.
Well, it's kind of similar, and I really like that, actually. It's kind of similar. When I lived in Germany, of course, I went to an American high school, which is traditional, just like, Americans when they're overseas. For you guys don't know, the kids typically go to an American high school, which is just like here. It's the same, 4-year high school, all that stuff. But the German kids, that was very similar to what they did. They would, by the time they were 16, they were choosing trade schools. Yeah. Or I think there was a preparatory school for university.
Yeah, it was both.
But there was different trades that could go into. It was set up, and it really made a lot of sense. It really made a lot of sense, and I agree with you. I think that would be a much better form of education for our country. You're putting out more young people into the workforce and into adulthood much more prepared. Because most people I know, they're like 30 still trying to figure out what they're going to do.
Because they get behind the curve.
Yeah, because they go to school and then they goof around when they get out of school, and then that degree that they got, well, man, it's hard to get a job in that field. So now I'm going back to trade school to learn a trade that I could have done 6 years ago to start doing that, and I got this degree that may help me later, but right now it's pointless.
Well, when you have a population of over 50%, okay, I'm not going to get into the hard numbers, just over 50% not utilizing the degree, not in a field utilizing the degree they were awarded or that they earned through college or university, that's a problem.
Well, and I believe that stat 100%, just from personal interactions with people. 100% I believe that.
And I'm just saying over. I'm not going to say 80. I'm not going to give you the real numbers. I'm going to say it is definitely over 50%. Yeah. That's a problem.
We have people that get into police work who are already in the private industry they're over 30 and and it's not working. Like they got this degree and they've been in and out of jobs in the private industry because people get let go, companies fold. It's unpredictable. Yeah. And then they have this childhood dream of being a cop, and they go, well, fuck it, I'm going to go be a cop. Yeah. And then they jump in, and then they love it. But they got a degree in something, and they've got private industry experience, but it was unsatisfying. Yes. It was unpredictable. And, they ended up getting out of it for whatever reason. So there's a degree that may help them later in their law enforcement career, but... Yeah, and I know that happens in fire department. Yeah. Well, it may help them as they move into positions where administratively, because you definitely need degrees to move up at that point. But firefighters have the same types of people. People who are in private industries or people who have degrees for private industry type work, and ended up going into public sector, public safety sector. And it's just interesting. Yeah, and I think that's because our education system is messed up.
It is. It's not designed for the world we're in today.
No, it probably had a purpose. Maybe it had a purpose, 1800s. We had to teach people basic math and English, and they had to learn how to function in society.
Our current system is based on the Industrial Revolution.
Is that what it's based on?
It's designed to give people enough education to get into factories, in essence.
Just feed people into the system.
It really
makes sense.
And when that was happening, as that was done, and I get it, it makes sense. It just never changed.
Yeah,
it was always.
We're way beyond that now.
Oh,
God, we're so far beyond that now. We were talking to my brother. we were talking about technology and how we were watching football, and we were watching my Cowboys. Go Cowboys!
Yeah, they did well.
They did very well, and we were watching them. And my brother's got a real big TV, curved, really nice. And I was like, man, it's crazy. We were talking about technology and how fast it advances. And I was telling him how I was at the gym and I was actually watching the Texans game on my phone in between reps. And I was like, isn't that crazy, Tony? I was like, how I remember 7 or 10, 12 years ago, that was not something I would have even thought it was possible. Maybe 15 years ago.
Yeah.
It was something I wouldn't even thought was possible, watching a live football game on my phone
in real time
while I'm working out or doing whatever. Yeah, in real time. And now
it's crazy.
Your phone is unbelievable. And so then we were like, well, what's the future? Like that was 15 years ago, 20 years ago, right? What's the next step? Like we're going to see it over this next 20 years.
Biotech cyborg.
That's what I told him.
It's it. That is it.
So we're going to get like an implant on our eye, and it's just going to project out, and we can scroll through with our eyelids, with our eye movement.
I think we're going to go to glasses first. Okay, so glasses, because then you'll have that translucent type thing, and you'll be able to hit a button that'll make them go darker, so you're seeing.
Just blink or think it.
Yeah.
Well, like with that Elon Musk.
Yeah.
They kind of talked about when he's like, we're already cyborgs.
Yeah.
When do you go anywhere without your phone?
Right.
Your phone is attached to you constantly. We're already cyborgs.
Yeah.
So the next step, is to implanting it in, so you don't have to carry it anymore.
No.
It's just part of who you are.
But I think that's it. It's going to go to some level of lens.
Yeah. And I think we're going to see it.
And then contacts, and then implants into the eye. And
without even looking it up, I bet you they're already working on that tech.
Oh, yeah.
They probably already got rudimentary. I know they've come up with Google Glass and stuff.
If you can do this, if you can plug things into people's brains and into their optic nerves and make them see when they couldn't see.
For sure.
Okay, what's the next logical step?
Yeah.
I mean, just really, and I'm not saying it's easy. I'm not saying it's an easy step.
I'm excited about that.
It's the next logical step.
Yeah, and then your brain just powers it. It doesn't even need battery function anymore. It's just powered by your own system.
Yeah.
So something else about that. Maybe if it's recording all the time.
Of course it'll be recording all the time.
So then when you're involved in a crime, guess what we're going to subpoena?
Yep.
Because we download phones now. If I get a crime and we go to a lab, we download that phone and we get everything that phone has happened for whatever specified time we want. Every picture, every text, every whatever.
Everything. And even what you deleted.
Even deleted. Yeah. It comes back. So now, man, think about the legal ramifications of having an implant device in your brain that can be subpoenaed.
I love it.
There's no more secrets.
No.
Never.
Why do... That's it. And I know people get all... Why do you need secrets?
Well, people want their privacy.
Have all the privacy you want, but why be secretive about it?
Well, so what about if someone... so let's talk about sex. People have their own sexual... inclinations. They have their own little ways that they get off, and it's just normal.
Right.
Okay. Everybody's generally, there's like the generally accepted way, and then there's people on the outside, and the people on the outside are probably not as much on the outside as we think as people like to think they are. Well, they don't want to share that. They don't want to share those private feelings or those, or whatever it may be. They don't want those secrets revealed.
So that's and I think we're trending that way. Is society needs to make those things less taboo.
Well,
right, as long as it's not criminal.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, well, but that's another topic, right?
So
with pedophilia.
I'm going to say within law, right? As long as it's not criminal.
It's not criminal.
Okay, then what the fuck you do it?
Yeah.
If you're cool and whoever you're doing it with is cool, who cares?
Well, it's kind of we're getting there.
Yeah.
And there's resistance. There's resistance from people who are much more religiously inclined.
Yeah.
I think they feel threatened by it.
Of course. Shocking how that happens.
It's unfortunate. And there's some people who are really cool. But we're getting there. So like I think you can see through maybe some of the television shows we watch, that exploration of I don't want to say bizarre sexuality, but the differences in sexuality.
Yeah.
And what people enjoy. So like I was watching Sinner on Netflix.
Okay.
I think it's The Sinner, and it's really good movie. But it kind of touches into that a little bit, the kind of bizarre sexuality. And this one guy, he's a detective investigating this crime, but he goes in his personal life, and in his personal life, he likes to be kind of beaten and humiliated, and we don't know where that comes from.
Yeah.
But he needs that to get his sexual release, to get a true sexual release. Yeah. He can have sex the normal way as well, because he has like a dual relationship. Him and his wife are estranged, but still separated, but still trying to work on things. Okay. But they have a very normal, like their sex life is actually, it kind of shows it, not on purpose, but you pick up that it's pretty basic.
Basic, right? Mundane, just normal,
basic,
whatever.
She's in bed waiting, he hops in bed, they do it, whatever.
Yeah.
And then he has this one girl he goes to who beats and humiliates him, kind of in a dominatrix style.
Yeah.
And causes him some pain here and there, and that's what he needs for that release with her, and he can't stop going back to that, which, to me is weird, but
same thing. If they're both okay with it,
it's consensual.
It's consensual,
totally okay.
And do it. And you can't give me this, oh, well, he or she, whoever's on that side, caused marks, or there was a bruise, or there was this.
Oh, there were bruises.
Boxing, jiu-jitsu, Muay Thai.
Yeah. It's mutual.
So because there's
pain.
Sex involved after, you can't do it?
Yeah. Well, sex makes everything weird for our society.
Right.
For our society.
Fucking let it, who gives a shit? Yeah. If that's what they want.
But I think what you're seeing with like that, with like a mainstream, because I think there's actually a TNT show that came to Netflix. It's very good, by the way. I highly recommend it. You're seeing that mainstreaming, or it's being accepted or shown, hey, people have different sexual interests. It doesn't make them bad people. Right. It doesn't make them sick. It doesn't make them weird. It's just that thing that they need for whatever reason.
And I don't have any data on this, okay? So don't kill me on the social. I feel like this. I feel like a lot of those obscure fetishes or fantasies occur because of crazy shit that happened to them as a child.
Oh, I can tell you for sure it does, because your sexual imprinting happens, I think, between 3 and 7. Yeah. Your sexual identity is imprinted on you at that point. I know this because my mom said I had a fascination with Cher, but about that age, and pretty much all I've ever dated is brunettes. So I don't know if there's a correlation or not. But no, I mean, I'm serious about that. But I learned that actually.
I have no fucking idea what you just opened, but that's awesome.
I learned about that through some training where we're talking about. It's some training I've been through as a police officer. But they talked about where sexual identity is imprinted. We were actually referring to pedophilia and why there's people who are sexually molested as children end up becoming molesters because that sexual imprintation is happening at that age. That age is your brain is being developed, and those things you learn there, I mean, you think it's when everything is happening, like a big part of your personality, everything is developed right then. So if you're in a fucked up environment through 3 to 7, you're probably going to be a fucked up person. Not always, but there's a good chance.
It's going to come out in some weird way. So my point in that is saying that, okay, well, so let's say we get all the chips and all the stuff, and there's no more privacy and stuff. Well, all these people with weird fetishes are going to get older and pass out. Pass on, pass through, all that stuff. So then less and less bad shit's going to be happening to younger people, because now it's all traceable and recorded, no secrets, right?
Maybe.
So then
people find a way around it, though.
Well, they're always going to find a way, but it's going to become a smaller population.
Or maybe what you'll see is that people who know they have these issues will elect not to for that technology, because I think the retro technology will always exist.
Yeah.
So there'll always be people. No, I just want to flip.
Yeah.
Like, now people just retro. I just want to flip.
Yeah.
I'm anti-technology. Not anti-technology, but there's always the people that got to be counterculture.
Yeah.
And so I think they'll say, no, smartphone's good enough for me. I don't need something imprinted in me.
Which is true. There'll be some level.
And there are people that genuinely don't want something implanted in their head that can be, that the government or somebody can subpoena and then watch everything they've done for like the last 10, 20 years and pick it apart. And you look at, like, look at what's happening. I know I'm jumping over into some political areas, but look like what's happening to Kavanaugh, what's happened to other people, where they just they go back 30 years trying to find anything, just any possible thing. Now, this situation, it might be fixed because you could just go, well, we'll go back in his brain, we'll pull it out and we'll watch it and we'll see what the incident was. And it would answer the question, right? But, I don't know. I think it would be a very good thing for society.
I think so too. People are going to freak and, Big Brother, and stop watching all my shit and all that. Holy crap. Nobody cares if you like watching this race of porn and you jerk off 3 times a week. Yeah. Nobody really fucking cares.
Nope.
Nobody really cares. It's not criminal.
No one cares anyway.
Nobody gives a shit.
They really don't.
Right? They don't. You know what I'm saying? Like, they really don't. Now, maybe you and your boyfriend, girlfriend, spouse, partner, whatever, they may have some issues with it, but that's a personal thing. It's not criminal. Y'all work it out.
That opens up a whole other can of worms.
Right. But
I want to see your sexual history over the last 10 years. So I want to watch. Could you imagine? Dang. And there's an app for that? There would be an app for that.
Of course it would be.
And so that would be a test. Well, I'm not doing that. I'm not giving you that in. That's private. Oh man, I can't imagine. It'll be interesting how it's going to happen.
Yeah.
I think it's going to happen.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see how it affects society. I do think, and this is funny from 2 guys who are very libertarian, to be like, I have no problem with this. And maybe it's because of our backgrounds. Like, I'm a police officer. I'm like, well, this would be a great police tool. It would answer questions.
And me, I've just seen so much crazy shit in my life. It's so incessantly full of nonsense. I'm trying to find the right words for it.
Right.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Nobody cares.
Yeah. We're going to see it. I think we'll see it within the next 20 years.
Oh,
I really
easily.
believe it. Because if you just look at the technology advancements of this last 20 years, and then you'll have, and everybody will be the smartest person on the planet because you'll have Google right in your brain.
It'll be even faster.
You know what's funny? I was having a discussion with somebody, and I literally was like, I don't know. And I go, wait a minute.
Yeah.
I'm just looking it up right now on Google. Actually, someone got irritated with me when I did that. Not because we were arguing about it, but they're like, "Oh, you gonna look it up?" I'm like,
"Why be wrong?
Why even wonder? I can just look it up right now."
That's what I'm like. Okay, because I mean, there's good and bad about technology, right? The whole thing. But I'm like, if we're sitting here and we're like, "Oh, you know what? I can't remember blah blah." Why sit here and debate back and forth for 15 minutes on trying to figure this shit out when you can just go done?
Yeah.
You don't even have to this anymore. You just say the right. I can't say it because then everything will open up. But you just say the right thing as far as with Google or with Siri.
Yeah.
It pops open, and even now with all the Amazon stuff and all the Google Google Home and anyway, Alexa. Sorry, I said Amazon. Alexa, Google Home, and all that. You just say it, and it gives you the friggin' answer.
Yeah, Alexa needs to be improved upon though. I got Alexa. She's fucking shit up all the time. Like,
really?
I have issues. Maybe I got an uneducated Alexa. I don't know. She's the retard. Updated. She's the short bus version Alexa. I don't know. But man, I'll ask her. She'll always answer me that she doesn't know or repeat the question or I don't have an answer for that or look it up. I'm not kidding. I'm like, what the hell? It was a gift from my brother, and I was excited about it, and it sucks.
They're cool because, like, it's all part of the TV stuff and everything.
Yeah.
So it's for me, Alexa is not as good as Google.
Google Home. It's Google Home, right?
We have Google Home, yeah.
Yeah.
But even like the Google Assistant and stuff, when you say blah 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 Google and it pops open and you just say your stuff into it, is far superior than Alexa.
Yeah. Well, technology's still pretty cool.
Yeah, no.
There's always little bugs. Just getting the sound right. God dang, there's a box inside the box. But they didn't tell me there's a box inside the box.
I can't. I gotta go over this. I want the volume to be higher. Okay. So I push the slider as far over as it goes. It won't go any more on the screen. That typically is indicative of maximum volume.
I agree with you.
Which is why it says max.
Yeah.
No. You actually open up to where you can enter in the digital volume and you can go 10 times greater than that.
Yeah. Why don't they just put that on the...
Why not have the input meter where you can type it in right there?
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
That would maybe make a little more sense.
I'm sure there was a purpose to that program when it was created.
Shit.
I'm absolutely 100% sure.
I really hope so. I was so irritated. I mean, it felt good because I was like, oh, well, now it's clearly fixed. We don't have to worry about this anymore. That's awesome. I love it. Now I have the solution. But on the flip side, I'm like, how many hours did I waste and tests and this stuff and back and forth and trying to get it right, and then holy crap, motherfucker. I love technology, but I hate it.
Yeah.
These asshole bastards. Okay, I got to hit the Kavanaugh thing. You said it. Okay,
let's do it.
I learned this today, okay? The accuser, we actually know who the accuser is. Yeah. Okay? And I saw it, but I'm not going to try to repeat it.
Liberal professor surprise.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay, so here's what I read, and I'm assuming this is factual because it was on main media, okay? Not that it means it's factual, but we'll assume it is because it was on multiple major media outlets.
Right.
Okay? The lady who is accusing Kavanaugh's mother had sued their family back in the day.
Oh, I didn't know. I haven't heard that yet.
Yes. I'll have to pull this up. So, and then, okay, so now, and won, sued them and won. They were defending.
Do you know what they were suing them about?
I don't remember.
Okay.
I know I read it.
There's a history here.
Yes, there's a history, and it goes back to I think the lawsuit, I could be wrong on this, I think the lawsuit was in 86.
Okay.
Okay. The assertion today was 85.
Yeah.
Right. So it goes back to that same time frame. Not that it has to, but it just coincidence works out that way. The accuser also cannot remember where the home was, what the home looked like, any of these things. And then now apparently she somehow got away before there was actually any level of intercourse. Mm-hmm. And no one can substantiate her claims. No one, nothing pans out at any level, anything.
And to add to that, she didn't outcry to anybody.
Right.
At the time. So this is early 80s. Let's say 81, 82.
Mid-80s, or early to mid-80s,
okay.
Yeah.
So she didn't outcry to anybody. I think it was 82 from what I was being told.
I think so.
So we're talking that's 35 years ago?
35 to 36
years ago. So she didn't outcry to anybody at the time. The first time she even mentioned something like this possibly happening was in 2012 at marriage counseling. Mm-hmm. And they actually have obtained the notes from the marriage counselor.
I didn't know this.
Yeah.
Okay.
But no name is mentioned, just that an incident occurred with 4 boys.
Not 2.
Not 2, 4 boys at some house.
Okay.
But no sexual assault. Some types of, basically the same description we all heard, some type of clumsy behavior where they held her down. She's saying they were trying to get in her pants, but then they weren't. It's very confusing the way she describes it. It seems, it's very confusing.
Yeah.
And, but no sexual intercourse, not even close to it, other than something, according to her, this is all her story.
Yeah.
So, and of course, he's denying it 100%.
Right.
And they know the name of the other guy who's actually a prominent conservative writer.
Yeah.
He's denying it 100%, saying this never happened. And I think Kavanaugh even came out and said, I was never even at a party like that.
Right.
Now, what this is kind of weird is there's a lot of rich people involved here, is what I'm seeing, because we have like a private school and a house in Montgomery County, which I guarantee it wasn't the bad end of Montgomery County.
No, yeah.
I'm sure Silver Spring or something, and which is where I was born actually. But anyway, some nice place, and they're all 3 prominent. Like she's a professor. Like she's at a smaller college, but I guess it's for it's connected to Stanford and it's for postgraduate studies type stuff. So she's apparently pretty, and she's published a lot of stuff. So she's no lightweight herself.
Right.
So we got 3 very prominent people in society with the he said, she said, and hers is just the timing of it. It's just suspect, and in the way Feinstein has done it, again, it's very Clarence Thomas esque.
Yeah.
With the way they try to ambush him with Anita Hill. In fact, this is even, I think, worse in the sense of there's less corroboration of anything. At least Anita Hill's was within a certain time. Recent time frame.
I still really honestly don't even know if that happened or not, but it was believable.
Anita Hill. There was some believability. Yeah, even her credibility was questionable.
Right. But it was at least something that made you look at it and want to. Well,
and in that one, I have to go back and rehash. I remember watching that on TV with my parents, by the way. This shows you what kind of nerd I am. But the things that she was saying, they were believable they were within. What's the word? Credulity? Is that correct? But they weren't like, I don't remember hearing her saying things. There's a couple things that I remember her saying, and we were like, I don't know why that.
Yeah.
But there's some stuff. I could see someone, especially in the 80s.
Yeah.
Someone making some joke, some sexual jokes. Look, in the I don't necessarily in my office, but in offices, I hear sexual jokes and things being said, and it's around people in mixed company where it's thought of to be okay.
Yeah.
And so, these things happen. Now, the thing with Kavanaugh, if it happened the way she said it, it's terrible. But she didn't.
Yeah.
She didn't tell a single soul.
Right.
And so he has. He deserves the benefit of the doubt because he's never had any. There's not a single other credible witness, evidence person that said something like this happened at any other point in his life ever.
And since this has from what I know, no one else has come forward.
No one else has said that this has happened to them. This never happened any other point.
Right.
So you're talking about one incident, according to one person who happens to be in our politically charged environment on the opposite side of the political belief system as him.
Right.
It's just highly, highly questionable. Now, if there were multiple people coming out over multiple different time frames, I would definitely be like, okay, there's a problem.
It lends
like with Bill Cosby when one came out.
Yeah.
With Roy Moore, boom, there's multiples.
Yeah.
There's no credibility to this in my mind.
If Kavanaugh was a sexual predator of any level,
like that, that's a problem.
That would have exposed itself at least one or two more times.
Oh, no doubt.
In almost 40 years.
Well, and I think the fact that Feinstein held on to this because she received this letter in late July. She didn't report it to the FBI or anybody till just last week.
Yeah.
So she must have been questioning its veracity and I think what she thought was, I'll put this in my back pocket.
Yeah.
And if all else fails, I'll just I'll drop this on here at the last second and we'll see if that sinks it.
Literally at the last second.
And I think that's what I don't think she believes it for 1 second. I think it's just, we'll see if this works.
Yeah. And this is I'm working through this. I kind of feel like if anyone is going to assert any crime on another person, I'm not even put time limits on it. There has to be evidence involved. It cannot be hearsay.
Yeah.
Hearsay cannot. I don't think if someone comes forward, they should be allowed. It shouldn't be admissible. It shouldn't be taken as serious. It should be considered as total fucking bullshit unless there's some level of evidence involved.
Well, this is what I'll say. So there's direct testimony and there's hearsay, right? So hearsay would be, I heard this happen.
Yeah.
Direct testimony is this happened to me. Okay.
Yeah.
And I can tell you, sometimes that's all you got. You have, we'll say sexual assault, since we're kind of talking around that. That's very common. That's all you have is that. And there's times when it's not reported for years. Right. Because the crime it's a horrendous crime.
It is.
Actual sexual assault is horrendous crime. It's extremely damaging to the person it happens to, mentally, physically, more mentally in most cases. And it's difficult for them to come out with it sometimes, especially if they're younger.
And I can agree with that. Well, super young is the whole difference.
Well, and it gets even worse as you get younger, right? Because there's a multitude of other factors involved for children. But sometimes it takes years for that to come out. You know, we all know a lot. There's a big chunk of sexual assaults, and it's arguable, but there's a big chunk of sexual assaults that never get reported because women don't want to report them. So that being said, you have to take each case on its face. So you have to take the witness. That's why, and I thought it was a good move by the White House to say, I think it was Kellyanne Conway came out and said, okay, good, then she needs to testify. And even Kavanaugh came out, I will come back and testify, which is good signs because it's saying, hey, I have nothing to hide. I'm completely transparent. You can ask me any question you want.
Under oath.
I have nothing to hide here. Yeah. Now the onus is on this person making the accusation, and she doesn't want to testify. No. I can tell you right now she doesn't. She's resisting, and I don't think she's going to. I think the Democrats are going to try to play this out without her testifying because I think if she starts getting grilled on this, it's going to expose. I'll just tell you this much. I've interviewed or sat in on interviews because there's a way that those interviews are conducted. But I've sat in on interviews of actual sexual assault victims and those who are not. Now later when we found out they are not. And you can tell the difference. Yeah. There's a big difference between someone who's been traumatized and how they describe things and someone who hasn't actually been traumatized. There's a big difference. Oh, yeah. And you can tell when they're faking. by the way.
Yes.
So
yes, you can.
If she comes out, it'll be you'll be able to. People who have experience will be able to see it, 100%.
And that's kind of my thing. Is it's just like it's too easy to destroy. We've talked about this before. It's too easy to destroy someone's career and family and livelihood and income for future years and all these things on false accusations. Mm-hmm. So it's just, I don't know what the answer is, but there has to be a way to hold accountable false accusations. Well, and when I say that, I have to clear this up. I mean false accusations. Like there is no fucking dude was in Washington State and girl was in Oregon, and two different totally states, and some shit supposedly happened, and stories pan out that there is no possible way this could have happened type situations. And we've got some of the stuff with Duke and some other places that these things had gone on, that there's that level of false accusations. Whoever makes that false accusation, I think, should get the crime that they're charging to the other person.
I agree.
You know,
well, there is statutes for that. Yeah. In all states, false reports. Yeah. But it's prosecutors very rarely want to take that on because they don't like the appearance of attacking a possible victim. So they rather let it slide. Not always. There are times
I've seen a couple times
prosecutors will go after it, but it has to be pretty egregious usually. Yeah. If there's even a hint of a possible, well, we're pretty sure she's lying, but they're not going to do it.
Yeah, and that's kind of my fill-in on that is you have to be certain. Yeah. And that's the whole deal is if there's truly an alibi that pans out, this happened at 10 p.m. and dude's having dinner with his family at 10 p.m. on camera. Yeah. Get the fuck out of here. Yeah. You're going to jail.
It's a catch-22 for prosecutors because they don't want to, and hopefully this would be a great question if we can get my buddy in that's running for Fort Bend County DA. Yeah. It's that little catch-22 of, man, you don't want to alienate or put in fear people who want to report something that happened to them as traumatic as sexual assault. Or there's a lot of other crimes people falsely report have occurred to them. But especially something like that's sensitive, you don't want to discourage it. You don't want people to feel like, well, they're not going to believe me, and then they may even charge me, you know. So I get it, right? But I do agree that when it's an obvious, egregious case, and it's beyond, the evidence is very clear that they lied, they should be charged to the fullest extent possible.
Absolutely.
They should. Absolutely. It's a terrible thing because you're doing to that person, I don't want to equate it to sexual assault, but you're destroying their life. Yeah. And especially if they have to do prison time, where they go in and there's a possibility they get sexually assaulted in prison. Yeah. Because going to prison for that crime is that's not a good one to go in for. Yeah. Then you did that to them. Yeah. You basically sexually assaulted them. Oh.
Because the guy potentially could go to jail, even if he doesn't. Let's say he's got a wife and kids.
Maybe he loses them.
A divorce is most likely going to occur.
Yeah. Try to get a job with a sexual assault conviction. Who's going to hire you?
No one.
Yeah. McDonald's probably isn't even going to hire you.
I'm sure somebody somewhere will hire you, but it's not going to be that great.
Yeah. It's going to be very difficult. Yeah. So, the Kavanaugh thing is, it's dirty politics, man. That's as low and as dirty as you get. And I don't think it's going to derail it. I think it'll delay it maybe a week or two.
Yeah, I don't.
At most, he's going in because this is their last hope, and that's it. And they can't pull out any more tricks.
Right, he is a conservative judge. He has a great record on the bench. Mm-hmm. They keep trying to poke holes in that. They can't.
Oh, they can't. They lost that battle.
So I'm like, he's good. He is conservative, so I know people don't like that, but I would really appreciate if the anti-Kavanaugh people, some are liberal, some are libertarian, some are independent. So I don't want to say they're all liberals, right? But if you're against him just simply for his political stance, just say that.
They won't. But we all know it. Yeah. They just no. We just need a qualified justice. Yeah. We need somebody who's independent. Look, justices they all have their political leanings. Yeah, there are some far to the left. Yeah. Ginsburg. Yeah. And then there's some that are farther to the right, Thomas. Yeah. They're allowed to have their political leanings. We know this. This is a fact of life. They're human beings. They're not robots. But they are, if they're honest and they look at each case based on the qualified precedent and merits of the case, and aren't trying to legislate from the bench, which is what they're not supposed to do,
right,
and have a good history of that, then their political leanings don't matter. I don't care if a justice is liberal. I honestly don't care, as long as they look at cases and stay within the guidelines of the U.S. Constitution. Then I don't care what your political leanings are. Just show me that you're not trying to legislate from the bench. Either way, because I'm not full on conservative. I'm very libertarian. So there's laws that I don't want. There's things that are illegal that need to be legalized. Yes. And if I got a judge that's so far to the right that he can't see past that, well, I don't want that on the bench either.
You don't. No, you don't.
I want someone who's going to follow the Constitution and try to go by it the best he can, or he or she.
Yeah.
And
I think that's Kavanaugh.
I do. I think Kavanaugh is there. He's not. He's conservative. He's not far right. He's definitely. He's a conservative leaning judge.
Yes.
And that's okay. It's allowed.
Perfectly okay.
But in today's society, it seems like there's an attempt to make people who identify as Republican or conservative, they're trying to classify them all as, I don't want to say Nazis, but there's this attempt to
it's alt-right Nazi, demonize them.
To demonize them.
You're a bigot.
It's so weird to me that we're at this stage
man.
in our politics. Like you see, like with Nike, we talked about that before, but you saw again that divisiveness pop boom. In a weird way, you saw a little bit of divisiveness on that, and it hits that political tone, and it turns into, man, if you're, and it feels like it's more this way. If you're a conservative person, that's your political leanings. Well, then that's a bad word. You're a bad person for being conservative. When did that happen?
Come on, man.
When did that happen? You should just be you were boring. Oh, conservatives is a boring guy. Yeah. He's just an old school guy, but now you're evil.
Right. And when did it get to the point because this is the deal. And I posted this today, this specifically on the Nike thing, right? I posted this today and I said, you know what? I sacrificed for Kaepernick to do what he did, for Nike to do what they did, and also for anyone who opposes that to voice their opinion against it and take action that's legally and lawful against it. And for people who also support the Nike and the Kaepernick thing to voice their opinion. It doesn't make any of those people bad. It doesn't make any of those people evil. And that's the rights they have. I fought for those rights. I sacrificed for those rights. You did too. And the hardest thing to do in America when there are freedoms is to give people the freedoms that they have, the liberties that they have in being a part of this country when you disagree with it.
Yeah.
It sucks sometimes, but hey, I want them to have every fucking right that I have, and vice versa.
Yeah. Because
the second you close it off, we're not free anymore. 100%. And that's what keeps happening. And they're like, oh, well, you're racist, you're a bigot, you're this, you're that. I don't give a... Oh, fuck, dude, come on, man. Like, really, we're all good people.
So caught up in winning.
Yeah.
That they resort to, well, we don't just agree to disagree.
Right.
And no, because you might win some elections and therefore... in my mind, my team is lost. Well, now I've got to pull out all the stops, and I've got to call you everything under the book to dehumanize you and to nullify your voice.
Yeah.
And I don't know why we're doing that, and I think it's way more on the left than the right. You see a little bit of it on the right.
I think right now because the right is in power. I feel comfortable saying that.
But I also feel that typically speaking, people who are on the right, not all, but people who are on the right, generally speaking, are much less inclined to do that, to demonize someone to the point where their voice is not allowed to be heard. Right. I think more people on the right are open to letting someone talk and express their points of view and even have them.
Yeah.
Just don't. I think most people on the right are. Yeah, you can say what you want. You just can't. Just don't impinge on my right.
Right.
To do the things that I want to do over here, or to believe what I want to believe. And you can go back and forth because there's
a range on both sides.
Right. There's Christian conservatives who want to limit certain things.
Yeah.
I don't want to just label Christian conservatives, but I'm just thinking of an example. So there's examples on both sides. But I don't know. I think it's worse on the left. And I don't know why that is. I can't explain it. But it just feels like there's more immaturity on the left side of the political spectrum.
I think this is a reach. I don't have data on this. I think the left tends to have a larger group of younger people who are less wise, not less intelligent, fuckers, less wise. Right. They don't have the same level of experience. They don't have the same experience to be able to debate. They don't have the same worldly experience. They're fed all of this information from college and university that we know some is great and some is crap. And so they don't really know how the world works at the same level, and they're a lot more emotional. And so that's the younger base. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Older Democrats, from my experience, for the most part, are just tired and fed up and just like, fuck it, make it socialist, I don't care. Or they're really more independent libertarian. They just associate it with the Democratic Party because that's all that there is. And the older Democrats, not many older Democrats are out screaming, yelling, hooting, and hollering, and all this other kind of crap, unless they're paid for it on TV.
But yeah, you're right. Generally speaking,
unless they're again paid for, writers or journalists and things of that nature. On the right, younger right people, younger, are typically less emotional, and a lot of times they're too tied up in their other bullshit. They're racing cars and four-wheelers and hunting and and I'm NROTC and I'm stereotyping that shit out of them because it's true.
It's true.
It's
true. No, it's true.
And too busy and all this other kind of shit and some of the sports and all this, they're like, oh, fuck all that.
Yeah.
And then if they get pulled into it, usually more than 50% of what I've witnessed, the conservative side starts to get emotional when the liberal side starts to squash on their right, trying to shut them up and calling names and doing that kind of stuff. Then now you're making it more personal. Yeah. This isn't about the issue. Now you're making it about me.
Yeah.
Then the conservative starts to get emotional.
Right.
And you got a problem.
Well, anytime you start calling people Nazis and alt-right, you're going to get an emotional response. And then, I don't know. Things are very, very strange. Our political system, not our political system, but the state of our politics in our country it's just a very strange time.
Yeah.
And it's so extreme. But I do see with the left, when you're looking at, so we'll talk about Kamala Harris and Booker and some of the shenanigans they pulled this last couple of weeks. Well, you're looking at two of those. Those are two of their presidential candidates.
Yeah.
I think the Democrats are in trouble if that's who they're. Unless Joe Biden runs, I think they're in trouble because. And then they're talking about was it Cavanetti? Is that the guy? That's the porn star's lawyer, Stormy Daniels' lawyer.
Cavanetti, whatever.
I can't think his name right.
Yeah.
But that guy's an idiot. I saw him on a little show with Tucker Carlson. It didn't go well for either one of them. I'm going to tell you right now because they both hate each other so much.
It was ugly.
It was just them yelling. It was just them insulting each other. But. He's an idiot too. I can't see this guy. I'm like, these guys, guys you're running.
Well, John Kerry is posturing up for another run.
Come on.
No, he is.
It's sad that might be their best candidate.
Yeah.
John Kerry. Look what he was in a disaster.
Yeah.
As what do we call it, Secretary of State.
It was not good, and he did not have a good presidential run.
Oh my God,
man.
I mean, and John Kerry's gonna come up. He was terrible when he ran against Bush.
Yeah.
He was terrible when he ran against Bush. He's this walking 2x4. It's not in touch.
He's just another establishment guy. You're going to be in trouble.
He can't handle Trump.
But there's still 2 years, man. It's way too early to say.
Yeah.
Because look when President Obama popped up.
Yeah, but 2 years before.
He just sort of,
kind of bing. Yeah, he was just like, who's this guy?
Yeah. Oh, he's got no chance. And then he wins and he's there.
Yeah, I didn't think he had a chance.
Yeah.
Hillary Clinton didn't think he had a chance either.
Same thing with Trump.
Trump.
Not that he came out of nowhere. He's been around.
He's been trying for a while.
But he's sort of like, oh, he's going to throw his hat in. Whatever. That's a joke.
I still don't believe that he thought he was going to win.
I don't think he thought he was going to win.
Did it for publicity and because he is not the first time he ran for president. I think he just used it to get his publicity up, get his name up because that's what he does. He's a reality TV star, and he was going to spin it off. He was going to spin it off into some other business. Then all of a sudden he has a shot at it.
Like, oh shit!
Someone's going to write a book one day, and it's going to detail how he had no fucking idea he was going to win. They talk about how shocked he was he won that night.
Yeah,
like he thought he was going to. Of course, a lot of people did, and.
He's like, wait a second.
Holy crap. Shit.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So before we go, I got to totally interrupt this. I got to get your opinion on the Dallas shooting. Have you seen this?
Yes. Oh, we're all talking about it.
We're
all talking about it.
That is a mess.
So, okay. So Texas Rangers are investigating. And they're in the way they do their investigations, they keep it and then they'll give it to the DA.
Yeah, they're
Let's say Texas Rangers are the absolute premier investigative agency in our country. They are phenomenal.
They're what the FBI should be.
100%. They're what the FBI wish they were when they have a wet dream.
Yes.
I'm just going to tell you that right now. I have nothing but a huge amount of respect for every Texas Ranger I've ever had the privilege of talking to or in any way doing anything with. It's always been just outstanding. Yeah. Those guys are outstanding. I'm very glad that they represent our state. Okay, yes. I'll get off their dick right now. Yeah. So they're doing their investigation, independent of, I think, whoever was doing the other investigation.
Yeah.
I don't know who was doing the local. I think it was
local. I don't know if it was county or what.
I don't know if it's Fort Worth or Dallas County, or I'm not sure if it happened in the city of Dallas or in Fort. I'm getting anyway.
Geographically, I'm confused, but right. The Rangers.
There was a local agency that did an investigation, doing one, but the Texas Rangers doing one also.
Yeah.
Which is very normal for Texas Rangers to investigate things that happen with police officers in the state.
Yes.
They're an independent agency that can do it, and they do a great job. So they're going to bring their findings to the prosecutor pretty soon. This is what it's not what it seems. It's not. I accidentally went into the wrong apartment. I don't believe that, and I don't have any special information. Nobody's told me anything. I have no. This is just me.
Yeah.
My common sense meter.
Private, personal.
My personal opinions based on my life experience, seeing these kinds of things. It looks to me there's going to be I think it's going to come out that there's a relationship between these two, and she decided to kill him for whatever reason and is trying to make it look like an accident.
Okay.
That's what I think. That's my opinion, and I think it may come out. Now, we haven't seen that because I think the initial charge was supposed to be manslaughter.
That's what they've charged her with officially, manslaughter.
But I think that's going to change. Maybe I'm wrong. Like, maybe it really is a weird accident, but from what I understand, the way you get to those doors, it doesn't make sense.
It doesn't. She's lived there long enough that when you go up a parking garage, you know if you've gone around two or three times, or as opposed to 4 or 5 times. The hallway in every place, there's always something different, right? Even if everything was in the exact same place, floor to floor, there's different lights, there's different floor mats, there's different numbers on the door, there's different everything, right? And I was told this earlier that it's a key card entry, not a key entry.
Yeah. So her her story's changed too, by the way.
Yeah, I knew. Yeah, I saw that.
So that's an issue. If your story's changing, then that's a big problem. Yeah. If your story's the same the whole way through, then okay, massive bad luck, bad decision combined together. You're still getting charged with manslaughter. But man, when your story starts changing, and I don't know how much of the story's changed, this is just what's been reported.
Yeah.
And I can tell you this firsthand. What gets reported and what's actually happening sometimes is
not the same thing.
It's not accurate. Right. It could be that her story hasn't really changed. We don't know. So, but if it's true that her story changed from I went in my apartment and saw the guy to I saw the door ajar, thought someone broke in. That's a significant change in the story because it really alters things. So. Look, the Rangers will do a fantastic job on the investigation, and they'll come to the conclusion. They'll come to the proper conclusion, and the prosecutor's office, they'll give a good recommendation to the prosecutor's office. It's still up to the prosecutor what to charge her with.
Yes,
but
I think the charges are going to change.
I think it's going to be.
I don't know, but
I think it's going to be a homicide, and I think I do believe there's going to turn out that there's some type of relationship there. They'll find it because once you do a full and complete investigation, if there is a relationship between them, they'll find that out pretty quick.
You got phones and computers, man.
Phones and computers, and they don't lie.
No.
They do not lie, especially these phones.
I heard, I don't know if this is true, but I heard that Complex has a rather intricate security system.
Yeah.
As far as cameras and such.
Well, this is the other thing I thought about it, too, is like, so I live in an apartment complex. And I know my neighbors. Like, I don't know them, like, firsthand necessarily. But I see them on a daily basis coming and going. So if I saw one in my apartment, I don't think my first thought would be to shoot them.
Right.
It would be, what the fuck are you doing in my apartment?
Right.
And because there's a personal recognition of that person.
Right.
Versus a stranger. Even a stranger, my first inclination is not to shoot them, but to get them under control and to figure out what's going on. So I think we're going to see. It's going to.
This is a troubled one. Like
it's one that needs to be handled well.
Yeah.
It's very important that if she committed murder, we need to charge her appropriately. And we need to show, and I'm always I want all law enforcement and throughout the country. I always want this to happen. But, especially here in Texas, because I'm a Texan, part of Texas law enforcement, and I think we pride ourselves on who we are. Yeah. And we pride ourselves on being above the fray when it comes to this any type of poor policing or crooked policing. We pride ourselves on being above that because we don't. Police officers are the first ones to tell you. It's police here in Texas, and I think nationwide, we don't stand for that. Like there's no room for it.
Right.
None. I've seen officers run out of their job, and other officers report on them when they saw misconduct. We report on each other. You don't believe the movies. We report on each other. We care about our job and about the citizens too. We don't want to see anybody falsely hung up. So, it's very, very important that Texas Rangers do a good job, and that the prosecutor's office appropriately charges her, and then appropriately explains to the public why the charges are the way they are and what the evidence is. Now, I know there's limits to that because you have a trial that would come up. Yeah. But they need to make sure that there's no hint of any type of withholding of information.
Yeah.
We need to make sure it's very transparent.
As transparent as it can possibly be. Understanding
to show that we're holding her accountable. It's very important because especially in these times, people don't trust law enforcement because of media, because of respect to the Kaepernick thing, and that's just nonsense. That's just a symptom. Well, but
in this is I think it's important for people to understand this is not a police involved shooting.
No,
this is a civilian that is a police officer that shot somebody.
But people don't make that distinction.
And I'm like,
people don't make that distinction.
No, they're not. All day today, I'm watching social media. And I'm like,
police involved shooting, and it's like she was not on duty. No. She did something in her personal life. That we're going to find out about. Right. There are bad cops. There are some. I don't think there's very many. I think it's very small number. And when we find them, we root them out.
Yes.
But, this might be, I think this is definitely a case of either maybe not even a bad cop, maybe someone whose personal life fell apart, and in their personal life they made
it's gotta be. It's the only
a horrible thing.
It is the only thing that makes logical sense.
I think so.
I don't care how fucking tired you are. I have gone many days straight with less than 2 hours of sleep a night and super high stress situations with things going boom and bang and people dying all around, and you don't make that kind of a mistake.
Yeah.
It's just not, unless you have a psychological disorder, which is always possible. Get me wrong.
It's possible. Like, I will say this. I have responded to calls where people have gone to the wrong house. Usually because they're intoxicated.
Thank you.
And they get their house mixed up.
Yes.
I've had that happen a few times.
She tested clean.
She was not intoxicated. At best, she was tired from working. I think she...
15-hour day.
Yeah.
The fuck out of here.
She was pretty exhausted.
Sorry.
Hey, I've worked 15-hour days too. It's not like I'm
Yeah.
15-hour days, 15-hour day. You're tired. You're ready to go home.
You're not incoherent, man.
No. It's not like you've been up for 3 days without sleep. That's a different story.
And if you can drive around a parking garage and make it into a spot, you probably know where you are.
Yeah.
Without running into a bunch of other cars.
It's going to be interesting. So real quick, how about your Patriots?
Dude, bad day. Straight up bad day against the wrong team.
Yeah. That was definitely a wrong team to have a bad day.
And I agree with what it appears their game plan was. Clog it up, make Bortles pass to beat us.
Oh, I would agree with that all day long.
And that's what they did.
And they did it.
They weren't running. Every team, every time, you're going to get 1 or 2 runs for 8 to 10 yards or whatever. But they weren't running the ball. Bortles beat them on the pass, which very rarely happens. So Bortles was having a great day. We talked about this. The Patriots offense wasn't clicking right. No excuses. I mean, a couple injuries, but everybody's got a couple injuries, right? Who gives a shit? So the offense wasn't clicking right. And then, like we talked about, a couple of those turnovers just bounced the wrong way.
Those turnovers, though, you never know how those are going to bounce. Sometimes they go for you, sometimes they go against you.
Exactly. And if they bounced the Patriots' way, that score would have been exactly flipped. And it didn't, so it's what happens.
Well, Jacksonville, I think, is, we had talked about this. I think, I think they're the representative of the AFC this year. They were so close last year. And Bortles, maybe Bortles is
getting a little better.
Maturing.
Yeah.
Maybe he's just getting better. And maybe he's with the right team at the right time. He's got a defense that's giving him good field position, that's making plays for him, that's giving him opportunities with his offense. And they got a decent offense. Not a great offense, but they got a decent offense.
Well, I'll say this. The 4 losses, I picked the Patriots to have 4 losses this year. After we talked, right? Because I went back and I was like, oh, there's
you're looking at 12, 13 wins we're talking about.
Yeah, and this was one. And then Green Bay, Minnesota, and Pittsburgh. Because Pittsburgh's later in the season, which is a big. They're going to be fighting for playoffs, and so I think those four. Those were the four losses I picked.
Pittsburgh's cratering right now.
Yeah, but just
I don't know about Pittsburgh. Hey, how about Green Bay and Minnesota with
Another
tie?
Another fucking tie. 2 weeks in a row and 2 ties.
Are you kidding me? Look, that helps out the Cowboys. Minnesota and Green Bay getting a tie, that takes a game off the table for them.
Yeah.
So that's crazy. It's crazy. Divisional game too. That fucks that division all up. It's going to come down to Green Bay and Minnesota.
Yeah.
That was pretty.
Yeah.
And how's Dan Bailey not have a job yet?
Dude,
how many field goals were missed in Minnesota? 3? Is that what?
3 towards the end.
Okay.
So
I didn't watch the game. I saw some highlights, and then I was like, what?
Yeah. 3.
3.
Because 2 in overtime and 1 at the end of the game.
Yeah.
Right?
How does he not have a job in Minnesota already? Cleveland too. They had 2 extra points and 2 field goals.
Oh, fucking poor Cleveland.
How's kicking so bad?
Cleveland should be 2-0 right now.
That's crazy.
Cleveland should be 2-0 right now.
Yeah. And Eli Manning.
Eli went to.
Did you see that? I can't. There's got to be memes up. I'm gonna find them. They picked him up after. I don't remember which hit. I think it was after either a sack or that one hit when he was scrambling out over the middle, and I know everybody saw it coming. Like he's running in the middle of the field after he breaks away from and he looks lost. Like, okay, I don't know where to go. And then
he should have slid.
And he saw Jalen come up and he must have been like, is this real life? Is he really floating out here just waiting for me and he actually didn't even hit him as hard as he could have.
No.
If he hit him pretty good, depleted him.
But it probably screwed him up too. Like, he's not moving.
Boom! He just hit him, just knocked him off his feet. It was like, I really think he didn't hit him as hard as he could have.
No, because this is
probably because he didn't want to get a penalty.
No. When do you ever get an opportunity in an open field tackle that the one with the ball freezes?
Well, Eli Manning didn't know where to go.
You're like,
he never knows where to go when he starts running around. He's like,
they tried to make it interesting at the end though.
Well, it was bullshit. It wasn't going nowhere. That was like. Man, the Cowboys so thoroughly dominated them.
Yeah, they did.
Defensively, even offensively, they didn't do well the second quarter, but they could have done better offensively, but they didn't do badly.
Yeah,
I think I can't even think about 1 or 2 penalties offensively. They moved the ball efficiently.
That's special. 2 offensive penalties.
Yeah. That's all I could remember.
2 on special teams, but I was like, no, because they had 6 or 7 total the whole game.
Yeah, but
which is good.
I thought Dak looked great.
Yeah.
I thought he played very well. You were looking at the 160 yards passing. That's not that many, but he had like over 40 yards rushing.
It's also all he needed.
Yeah, and it was just the way and they played a smart game.
Yeah.
Like there was no unnecessary risks or chances. And he was throwing the ball well.
Yeah,
he was hitting receivers in contested coverage and nailing them, and they were making catches.
Yeah.
So I don't think I just don't know about these receivers.
It's a step in the right direction.
Yeah.
For Dallas, step in the right direction.
What's going to happen? I think every team's going to do the same fucking thing because you have to. First goal was to stop Zeke, which he really wasn't stopped. He didn't get a ton of carries. He still had like a 4.6 yard average or 4.7 yard average.
Yeah.
By the end of the game, so he was getting chunks of yards, even with contested with like all those guys in the box. But people are gonna continue to try to make Dak beat them. Yeah. But he's shown the ability he can beat them. He's shown the ability.
And as always, every year, don't judge shit until at least week 4.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm just gonna. Last year, Patriots, they're 2-2. What they do? They ended 13-3.
Yeah, well, they did what they always do. That's why I'm not even worried about the Patriots. To be honest with you,
Eagles lost the second and third game of the season last year. Some kind of bullshit. You know what I'm saying?
Hold on. Did you see Fitzpatrick's press interview, whatever you call it?
I didn't.
Post-game press conference?
I didn't.
He did a Conor McGregor impression.
No, he didn't.
He did. He put the glasses on. He had the open shirt. He looked like Conor McGregor's drunk brother.
Oh, that's awesome.
It was priceless.
Did he do the walk out? Or
I didn't see the walk out. He's just standing there. I swear to God, I thought when I first saw that pop up, I was like, I thought it was Conor McGregor for a second.
Yeah.
Then you realize it's not. And second 400-yard game.
Well, we said that though.
Man,
is he'll kill everybody for 3 games and he goes to shit.
Then he goes to
3 games.
shit. In time for Winston to come back.
Yeah.
We'll see. Man, but his post game press conference.
Yeah.
I didn't hear it all, but just the appearance cracked me up.
That's awesome.
And how about the kid out of Kansas City? What's his name?
Mahomes. Sorry.
Yeah, played at Texas Tech.
Rookie.
10 touchdowns, first two games.
The fuck out of here.
Man, maybe he's the rookie of the year. That's
right now he is.
Well, yeah, but I mean 2 games. But dude, that's and I watched a little bit of his highlights.
He looked good.
I mean, I know it's just highlights, but man, he looks the part.
Good.
He really looks the part. He's exciting.
He has so many weapons.
Weapons. Kansas City's loaded. Offensively, even defensively, they're pretty good too.
But I just feel like they'll do the same thing they do every year.
They look good, and then they
kick everybody's ass. Have one weird injury towards the end of the year, and for some reason that makes them crumble. Yeah, it's all.
Yeah, and the thing is, it's a rookie quarterback. I never fall away from that because if rookie quarterback, because you look at Dak that year they won 13 games. Yeah, and everything was clicking, defense was clicking, offense was clicking. Get to the playoffs, it's a different animal. It's a different animal.
Yeah, you can't do it.
So we'll see. It's exciting though. It was great. It was a fun Sunday. Lots of good football, and we'll see, man.
It's gonna be fun.
We'll see.
We're starting to learn a little bit, but it's too early. Everybody's like, "Oh, this and oh that." No, shush.
Well, the Texans are befuddled. The Texans, and I think we talked about this. They always get so hyped, and that offensive line is terrible.
Yep. Their defense is amazing.
They got a good defense.
Their defense is great.
But their offensive line is terrible.
And that's going to make their defense look worse, and they're not. But,
And Deshaun. There she is.
There she
Deshaun's
goes.
a rookie, man. He's still a rookie.
Yeah.
Making rookie mistakes. And he's going to be good, but he's still a rookie.
Yeah.
So, I heard one of the guys on sports radio talking about Texans. They're still trying to chalk up wins. And the Cowboys are coming up, and, they kind of look good this last week. I'm like, man, y'all shouldn't be looking at W's right now. Y'all should be looking at how do we fix this.
Yeah.
There is no guaranteed W for the Texans right now. And they got a hard-ass schedule in front of them.
They should have destroyed the Titans.
Titans were depleted.
Yeah.
They should have killed them. 3 offensive linemen.
And
their quarterback. They were doing the Wildcat successfully somewhat. I mean.
Yeah.
Bro, that was a pathetic performance.
I was offended by that.
That was a pathetic. I was watching the Wildcat. I'm going, what? And it's working?
Oh, man. That was disgusting.
Yeah,
disgusting.
Texas got issues. In fact, I was wondering if Coach makes it through the end of the year.
It depends. If they go 0-4, 0-5, he's gone, man.
I think so too, because they got a new GM.
He barely even shook Vrabel's hand on the way out after the game.
There's history there between.
Yeah, but
man, that must have felt good for Vrabel.
Yeah,
he just picked him apart with half a team. He looked like a genius compared to.
Yeah, no, he did.
I kind of don't think he makes it through the year. I was looking at this team, and they don't look good. They don't even look good.
No, they don't. No.
So and they got next week they could lose to the Giants. The Giants got some issues on their offensive line, but defensively they're still pretty good.
They have a good defense,
and they still have Saquon. Look, Saquon's a real deal. I know that Cowboys have. I think we're going to find out the Cowboys have a very good defense.
Yeah.
They're still missing David Irving and Gregory.
Yeah, Gregory was the one I was thinking of.
And they're coming, and they're both studs.
Yeah,
and they're going to come into that rotation. Dallas' defense is very good. Their front seven maybe one of the best in football. Maybe behind the Vikings.
Yeah,
behind Jacksonville. Maybe around that. They're in that top 5 category.
They're in there, and that's
and their secondary's not bad.
No,
they're showing they covered Odell no problems. They were step for step.
I was a little bit surprised by that.
Awuzie did a great job.
Awuzie,
yeah.
I was like, what the fuck?
Those guys looked. Brown did a great job. I mean, they looked really good. I
and a lot of that coverage. I'm giving a lot of that coverage to the defensive line.
Oh, they had
so much pressure.
The blitzing. It wasn't even the defensive line because the front 4 weren't by themselves getting the pressure necessarily.
Well, but they're pulling double teams and they're
Well, their stunts and stuff looked really good. The pressure packages that they were bringing with the corners off the edge. That really, Manning didn't have an answer.
And
this
is the intelligence for front 4 and offensive line.
Mm-hmm.
I mean defensive line. People forget the defensive line blocks for linebackers to stunt. Does that make sense? People always 100%. Forget that. They're like, oh well, no. You draw a double team and you turn and you block and you're blocking to make the stunt happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
or the blitz happen.
And if you look and I think it was a credit to just a total defensive effort. Like all 6 sacks were 6 different players.
Yeah.
So that just shows they were sending
in
in everybody from different angles, and the Giants could not. Eli Manning couldn't figure it out. He could not call the proper protection.
No.
And even when you saw the corner blitz coming in, like a couple times you're like, oh, it's coming. They couldn't protect it. No. And so, look, man, Dallas's defense that's what's going to ride them to the playoffs.
Yeah.
That's what they'll ride. If they make it, it'll be that defense.
And again, it's all health. It's all
Every
health,
time.
No matter what the team is, no matter any of those things. I mean, shit. Seriously, Cleveland Browns should be 2-0.
That's crazy.
I'm serious. They're going to get better. They're going to get better.
They're looking. I think they could be a 7 wins. 7 wins in this year.
And that's kind of the
Even
point
right
of it.
now. Like
and that's going to spoil them.
Yeah.
That's going to spoil other teams because they're going to be winning games that they weren't winning last year.
Yeah.
And all of these weird little close tiebreakers that we had last year aren't going to occur because they're going to be winning games.
Well, yeah, I'm kind of curious to see what Pittsburgh does because they're in just a. I think they did not expect to be 0-1 to start their year. So Pittsburgh, and I didn't either. I'm kind of shocked. So,
but they're smart. They have a lot of good players. That is a good franchise. They tend to, not that they will, they have a history of turning shit around.
Yeah. No, I agree. They have the players to do it and the coach to do it.
When the year they made the Super Bowl.
Did they start off slow that year?
They had to win 8 straight games to get into the playoffs.
Okay, I didn't remember that.
And they won 8 straight.
Yeah.
I think they won 8 straight, and maybe the 9th one they didn't matter. But whatever, they won 8 straight to get in.
Yeah.
And then wind up making it in.
Well, I don't know. I'm very excited.
So,
look, man, I'm just happy my Cowboys look like my Cowboys this Sunday.
This week
I didn't know what was going to happen because the first week.
Who do you guys have next week?
We got Seattle. So it's a very winnable game, and I think it's
Seattle.
at home.
Oh,
I
it's
think
home.
it's at home.
Okay.
I don't know. It is in Seattle.
Okay.
Yeah, it's in Seattle. So who knows? Like it's Seattle's
It'll be
still a good team.
It'll be a good test, so to speak.
But I think it's a winnable game for Dallas. If their offense can continue to improve,
yeah,
and the defense keep doing what it's doing, then I like them to win. But like their offense, they weren't perfect this last week. They did some nice things. It was nice to see Tavon Austin get involved.
Yeah.
Because he's got that ability. He's got that speed. If you can plug into it,
yeah, they
need that. They need that to open things up. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. I'm cautiously optimistic, but I don't know. They could go back to scoring 10 points.
Well, I told you your division that I was thinking that
you might
9 and 7 tiebreak is going to go into the playoffs.
Looking at it this week,
that was my pick. I'm serious. It was a heart attack, dude. And
you might be right.
The way those tiebreaks work, I don't have a fucking clue. You know.
Well, if we get another tie in the freaking NFC.
Oh Lord!
Can you imagine 3 weeks in a row? The way things are going, kickers can't make kicks.
The first week, last week, I get it was a rain. It was muddy. Okay, I understand, and they were long field goals that they were missing last week. This week, I mean, I know you're outside, but there was like the flags weren't flapping. There was no rain. Come on, man.
Yeah, no, I haven't looked. I'll be shocked if they're not off. If that kicker's not looking for a job already. So
he's got to be, man.
I gotta get bailing. So
awesome. So everybody, thank
stuff.
you. I'll chop this one up. We got a lot of different things I can chop up on this one. That'll be fun.
This was a really good one.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah,
especially the first little bit. If it didn't go, I'll find out later.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So everybody, thank you.
Right,
we will see you next time. Peace.
Right.
Wait, don't say anything crazy.
And we're out.
Almost. I learned you got to wait a few seconds because it winds up cutting it short. I didn't know.